I found there was a German scientist by the name of Otto Warburg who won a Nobel Prize back in the 30s for discovering cancer cannot exist in cells that are slightly alkaline. My baby sister, 17 years ago, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was preparing for her chemotherapy. Her oncologist told her she needed to change her diet to a plant-based diet. And this is what truly led me to algae. We have a quote from NASA that says 1 gram of algae has 1,000 times more nutrients than any other fruit or vegetable, as being the answer to world hunger because it has 3 times the amount of protein as any other food, more than steak, chicken, fish, and it's food.
Right.
This is not a drug. This is not a prescription. It's not even a supplement. Please know that your mitochondria are the most important thing to determine your health and longevity. Absolutely number one.
What I really love about what you're doing is it goes hand in hand with the mission of this show, which was to, help people build lives that feel as good as they look. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Tori Gordon, and today's guest is someone who's about to change the way you think about energy, aging, and even beauty. When you hear about the word algae, you probably think about pond scum. I mean, that's what comes to mind when I think about it. But you don't typically think about the future of longevity. But today's guest, Catherine Arnston, is here to tell us why algae might be the most powerful superfood on the planet. She is a PhD in natural health and a board-certified health coach and the founder and CEO of ENERGYbits. She's spent over a decade breaking down the science of algae into simple and relatable terms. And what makes her so unique is that she doesn't just talk about supplements. She talks about how to stay sharp, energized, and vibrant as we age so that we can stay human in the age of AI. So in this conversation, we cover everything from mitochondria and brain health to gut issues and skin, and how algae could be the single best hack for longevity. So this is not just another wellness fad. This is science and history and practical wisdom that's packed into tiny tablets, and I can't wait to dive in.
Life throws a lot at us. Struggles with relationships, business stress, family issues, and past traumas that keep resurfacing. I've been there, trust me. And I thought I could handle it all on my own. But then I found a solution that changed everything. And that was working with a virtual online psychiatric provider. Through expert support, I learned to process old wounds, reset limiting patterns, and break through mental blocks that were holding me back. I even explored ketamine therapy, and the transformation has been so profound. I had to share it with you guys because it's changed my life, both in my relationships and just how I show up in business. That's why I'm so passionate about Anywhere Clinic. They offer holistic, accessible mental health care, from therapy and medication management to cutting-edge treatments like psychedelic-assisted therapies. You don't have to wait for a crisis to seek support because thriving is possible right now. So go to anywhereclinic.com and book a session for as low as $120, or you can check to see if your insurance covers it. So take that step towards the support you deserve today.
So Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Tori. Yeah. Algae has been waiting 4 billion years to be discovered, so I'm glad to be here to share the good news.
Yeah, who would have thought that it would only take that long for us to start talking about it? Yeah. And to get it more into the mainstream, I'm so curious, with your background, how did algae come on your radar?
Right.
And was there a moment where you just became obsessed with it?
Oh, yes.
So yeah, tell me that origin.
Well, I tell people that I didn't discover or find algae, it found me. I'm actually Canadian by birth, and I mention that because all my education was in Canada, my family's still in Canada. I have 2 sisters, and my baby sister, 17 years ago, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's completely healed, so that's the good news.
Amazing.
But as she was preparing for her chemotherapy, her oncologist recommended or told her she needed to change her diet to a plant-based diet. Alkaline diet. They didn't tell her why or what it was going to do for her, so she called me just because I'm a good researcher and I love my sister, and I said, I have no idea what an alkaline diet is because I was doing international business, but I said, I will find out, and I did, and it was a plant-based diet because of the chlorophyll and the phytonutrients that have been proven to build your immune system. But also, as I researched it, I found there was a German scientist by the name of Otto Warburg who won a Nobel Prize back in the 30s. He was a German scientist for discovering cancer cannot exist in cells that are slightly alkaline. So I have to assume that was the other reason. Anyways, I found foods for her to eat. She did change her diet. She did go through chemo, and she completely healed. But then as I was learning more about plant-based nutrition and the healing powers, I thought, man, why isn't anybody talking about this? Because it was 17 years ago. So I thought, I'm a person that's very passionate and very action-oriented. I thought, I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. I enrolled in the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, got a health coaching certificate, and then I taught plant-based nutrition at hospitals and corporations. And this is what truly led me to algae. Because as I was teaching people the importance of eating more vegetables, I got so many complaints from people. They saying, well, it takes too long to cook them. They're too heavy to carry home from the grocery store. They give me gas. They go bad quickly. My husband won't eat them. My kids won't eat them. So I thought, okay, I know what the nutrients do, but if I can't get people to eat vegetables, and what mother can get their kids to eat vegetables,
this is the struggle.
I thought I've got to find a way to get the nutrients from vegetables into people in a way that's effortless, doesn't give them gas, doesn't go bad quickly, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
So I just went back and looked at everything I'd found for my sister. And one of the things I'd found for my sister was algae. And I tried other things, but as I lifted the hood on algae, it turns out it's the most nutrient-dense food in the world. We have a quote from NASA that says 1 gram of algae has 1,000 times more nutrients than any other fruit or vegetable. The United Nations has endorsed spirulina algae, that's one of the 2 algae we'll talk about today, as being the answer to world hunger, because it has 3 times the amount of protein as any other food, more than steak, chicken, fish. Ours is 64% protein. There are 100,000 studies documenting some of the healing properties we're going to talk about today of algae. It's been used in Asia for 60 years. It's an agricultural crop, by the way. It's not a supplement. It's a crop grown in fresh water. Yes, algae is in the ocean, but this algae, whether you buy it from us or Trader Joe's, it's grown in fresh water, air dried, and then pressed into the little tablets, which is the best part of it all. So these little tablets, that we call them bits because they're bits of nutrition, contain the same nutrition. One tablet contains the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. So while I'm talking to you, Tori, I just had a plate of vegetables.
That's amazing. This
makes green nutrition accessible, instant, easy. You can swallow it, you can chew them. You do need a minimum of 10 a day. We'll talk about spirulina and chlorella because they do completely different things in your body. But now, it has 40 vitamins and minerals, highest protein in the world, highest chlorophyll in the world, probably about another 100 nutrients we haven't tested for. This makes nutrition available, effortless, tasteless if you swallow it. There's no repeat. And there is no reason why anybody can't be fully nourished. And it has healing properties and nutrients not found in any other food we'll talk about with the mitochondria and for longevity purposes. So that was 15 years ago, and I decided I was going to bring algae to the world because the science was there. It's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop in Asia. It's been endorsed by international agencies. It just has not been explained to people outside of Asia, and the quality has been very poor because, except for us, most algae is grown in India or China, and they don't grow it very carefully. So a lot of it's very poor quality and doesn't contain the nutrients and often contains toxins. And we're medical grade food. So algae was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago. It was actually spirulina. And I tell people there's something spiritual about being the first life on Earth. So I now call spirulina spiritualina.
I love that. That's fascinating. I mean, all of the struggles that, whether it's mom with children or people who are sick and needing to look at their diet from a more holistic and very intentional lens, getting the nutrients that you need can be really difficult, and the protein, and to be able to put it in such a bite-sized bit, solves so many problems for so many people.
When you're traveling, when you are sick, you generally don't feel hungry, but you need to nourish your body, or it's, the thing about your body is that it will heal, but you have to give it what it needs and you have to remove what it doesn't.
Right.
Spirulina, which we call ours ENERGYbits, and we'll explain why, because it does give you energy at the cellular level. It gives you mental focus, physical energy, but it nourishes your body. So it puts nourishment in. Spirulina is nourishment in. And Chlorella, which we call recovery bits because it's a detoxing wellness algae, pulls out all heavy metals, glyphosate, pesticides, alcohol, lactic acid. It will eliminate the toxins that shouldn't be there. So spirulina is nourishment in, Chlorella is toxins out.
Amazing.
That's, if you need to, just a simple way to remember them, nourishment in, toxins out.
Well, I'm just thinking about the next week of my life, and in a couple of days I'm going to be driving to Burning Man, to the middle of the desert.
Lucky you.
And thinking about how I will need to be nourishing my body with all of these types of nutrients, and then also detoxing my body at the end of the day.
Right.
This is going to be so perfect
Absolutely.
for me. And, you know, I actually lost both of my sister and my mother both to cancer.
Oh,
and
gosh.
this is such a, you know, would have been such a vital piece that I would have loved to have been able to bring to them at that point. But it's such a, you know, a great advancement for those that are needing this right now.
Yeah. Honestly, if I do my job right in 10 years, I've been at this for 15, and I figure I've got at least another 10 ahead of me. This should be used by every single person in the world because, particularly here in North America, our food has no nutrition in it anymore.
Tell me about
the soils are overcropped, the food is so processed, you're getting fiber if you're eating vegetables at all, and calories. And you're also taking in, you know, seed oils and glyphosates and pesticides. It's just, so there's no nourishment in our food. So you need something, and that's what spirulina does.
Right.
And the average adult in North America now has 700 toxins in them. Our immune systems simply weren't built to sustain that kind of toxic load. So Chlorella will pull out toxins. And you can't do a detox once a year, once a quarter, once a month, once a week. This, you are exposed daily, whether it's sushi or even, you know, salads. You know, I love my greens, but let's face it, when you eat out, you probably are not eating organic, and even if you are eating organic, there's still blowout from the crops that had glyphosate. This is your safety net for, I call this your health insurance, spirulina, or sorry, Chlorella is your health insurance. Spirulina is your nutritional insurance.
I love that. Are there any side effects?
Well, there's no drug interactions whatsoever.
Okay.
Zero. And the average adult over 40 is apparently on 3 medications. So this is important to know. So spirulina, this is so safe. In fact, spirulina, we'll talk about the differences, is technically a bacteria. It's not even a plant. And the reason why that's important is there's no cellulose wall. So this allows it to get absorbed instantly if you chew it, as I do. Most people do swallow it because it's so chewy because of the high protein. But this, you can give this to newborns, you can give this to pets, children, you can give it to every age group. Older people, particularly as they age, they have fewer digestive enzymes, so they have a hard time digesting vegetables. Lots of people either have FODMAP or they have IBS or Crohn's. Vegetables are difficult to digest. This is your answer. This will get into your system, and there's no fiber because it's not even a plant. So there's zero interactions with nothing.
Great.
Chlorella, same thing. There's no contraindications. However, it is a detoxing algae. So I don't believe there's any metals in medications, but there are in vaccines. So this is actually a good thing with vaccines, because if you are required to take vaccines, please take Chlorella, and I would suggest 30 a day the week before the vaccine, and at least that amount for the week after the vaccines. This will pull out all the metals that are in there. We can reduce the negative impact from vaccines, and the level of autism damage is just off the charts. 1 in 12 children in California apparently are now diagnosed with autism. So this can help prevent this. But separately, I mean, we're here in Vegas. One of the toxins that actually pulls out is alcohol. So, you know, let's face it, we like to celebrate certain occasions and you know, indulge every once in a while. And as you get older, it's harder. Your body converts alcohol into toxins. This will pull the toxins out. They won't even get to your liver. You will be stone sober in an hour and a half, and you will never have a hangover.
Wow.
So I don't want to necessarily, you know, promote this as a hangover prevention, but that's one of the toxins it pulls out. And for athletes, it pulls out lactic acid. So they recover from any kind of sport quick. We fuel NHL teams, NHL teams who take it after their workouts. This is a pre-workout. This is a post-workout.
Amazing. And Is there a time of day that you should be taking these based on, like you said, a pre and post experience?
So generally people are hungry and tired and want focus and energy in the morning and throughout the day. That's when you would take spirulina. Now, when I talk about it being energizing, this is not a stimulant. A stimulant is like caffeine, chemicals, or sugar, and you definitely don't want stimulants anytime, 5 hours before bed. But you could even take this before bed, but most people take it in the morning. You could have 30 for lunch. There's 1 calorie per tablet. So if you had 30 for lunch, 30 calories, all the nutrients you need, essential fatty acids that you need for your brain, the highest protein in the world, and it will sustain you for hours for 30 calories. If anyone is on a GLP-1, please take this.
Okay.
This has the highest protein in the world. When you're not eating, you're not giving nourishment to your body. Most people aren't getting nourishment anyways. This will protect your muscles so they won't waste when you're not eating. So anyone on a GLP-1,
well, that's me. My doctor just put me on a microdose of one for metabolic health.
Yeah.
And so that's great
This
to know.
is fantastic for that. And if you are on a weight loss program, so here's the thing. This will satisfy your hunger so that everything works really well. But your body stores toxins in your fat. So when you are on a weight loss program, you definitely want chlorella because when you lose fat, guess what's released? Toxins. You don't want them recirculating around so they get reabsorbed. You want the chlorella
to flush.
Chlorella is the cleanup crew. So it will pull those toxins out, and the other thing is it will pull the toxins out of the fat, so then your body goes, I don't need those fat cells anymore. I guess I'll just get rid of that. So it does speed up weight loss to have both of them, but for different reasons. Spirulina will give you the nourishment and satisfy your hunger, your cravings, and then chlorella will get rid of the toxins so that the weight loss can be sped up.
Interesting.
But back to when to take them. So generally morning, afternoon, lunch, the 2 o'clock slump we all have. That's when cortisol is the lowest. Definitely take another 10. We suggest 10 tablets as an entry level. And I know that sounds like a lot, but they're only the size of a baby aspirin. They're so tiny. You could...
Smaller than an Altoid.
Yeah, way smaller than an Altoid.
Yeah.
So, they're really minuscule. So 10 is kind of like your entry level. For giving your body the nourishment that it needs. And it will take the edge off hunger, not satisfy it, but it will take the edge, and it will help your brain focus. And we'll talk about brain in a minute, because this really is brain food, not just because it's loaded with essential fatty acids like omega-3. And we know that fatty fish are called brain food. Why? Because of the omega-3. Well, I tell people, where do you think the fish got the omega-3 from? From algae. So you can cut out the middleman.
Got it.
Save the fish, save the oceans. The omega-3's in here. Fish oil goes rancid usually, by the time you get it.
I recently learned that.
Because it becomes inflammatory. You're taking it to be anti-inflammatory. It's usually inflammatory. This is never inflammatory. So this is much better for you and for the environment than fish oil. So very good for your brain, but we'll talk about, there's a nutrient in here called superoxide dismutase. I know it's a mouthful. Also known as SOD, and your brain, this heals your mitochondria, and your brain has the most mitochondria. But generally, 10 is an entry level, 20 is better, 30 will really be great for lunch, is really a therapeutic amount. If you have cancer, want to prevent cancer, had cancer, you should probably be taking 30 a day. But here's the great news. There are over 40 vitamins and minerals in spirulina and chlorella as well. So when you're taking this every day, by the way, it's food. We call them bits because they're bits of food, not a supplement. You can eliminate at least 5 or 6 of your supplements. You can get rid of a multivitamin, fish oil, collagen. It has more collagen than collagen powder. Wow. Biotin, CoQ10. There's 5 right there. And with all those different supplements, they expire at different times. They clutter your counter. When you travel, it's a pain. Some you have to eat with food. Some you can't eat with certain things. And also, I can't take supplements. I don't take any anymore anyways. I just take algae. But they used to make my stomach nauseous.
Yep.
This will never make you nauseous. In fact, it's fantastic for intermittent fasting.
Oh, great.
And I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. I do it myself because it's food. In fact, we got known very well with the sports community, the triathletes, long-distance runners, because when they're running, they need some kind of energy, so they take Gatorade or bars or gels.
Those little packs.
Yeah, but they upset their stomach because there's sugar and carbs in them. This has no sugar, no carbs, and will never upset your stomach. So it's really great on an empty stomach because it's food. So really great for intermittent fasting. If you're ketogenic, if you're GLP-1, losing weight, just want something fast to grab and get out the door, you can blend it and put it in a smoothie. You can chew it. I will say most people don't chew spirulina because it is so chewy, it sticks a bit to your teeth. I chew it when I mix it with trail mix.
Got it.
So morning, afternoon, before a workout, it's food. You can have as much as you like, but at least take 10, 20 is better, and so is 30.
How many grams of protein in that kind of serving size?
Great question. We sell them in little pouches. I don't have any here.
Yeah, I've got some right back here, and we can show.
Yeah, they come in little pouches of 30 tablets, and so you can see they just fill up your hand in a small way.
Yep.
So in 30 tablets, there's 5 grams of protein.
Okay.
And you might say, well, that's not very much, but here's the thing. Especially in spirulina, it's 99% bioavailable within seconds if you chew it, minutes if you swallow it. Bioavailable protein is the key because when you eat animal protein, your body can't absorb it as protein. It has to break it down into amino acids. And that can take 2 or 3 days. And most of us we have compromised digestion. We're missing the factors and cofactors. So in many cases, you might eat 50 grams of chicken, which is about the fist size of chicken, but you might only absorb 10% as aminos. So you ate 50 grams of chicken and you got 10 grams or 5 grams of aminos. With spirulina and chlorella, you eat 5 grams of protein, you get 5 grams of aminos. So the 5 grams of protein, and it's 18 of the 20 aminos, including the 9 your body can't make. So it's a complete protein. Very important, complete protein. So it's very efficient protein because it's what's absorbed, not just what you're eating. So it's like having 50 grams of animal protein, except because of the efficiency of the amino acids.
That makes sense.
So it doesn't sound like a lot, but also Dr. Mindy Peltz, I was on her podcast years ago, and she endorses us and she loves our product. And she also says this will not break a fast because you'll break the fast if you have too many carbs and too much protein. This gets instantly absorbed, so it doesn't affect your fast.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really
the first
terrific.
time I ever heard about you guys was through the documentary about we did the premiere, the Biohack
terrific.
Yourself.
Yeah, I was in
premiere.
that, yeah.
And this was, a conversation that was being had then, and some of the people that I respect at the highest levels were all talking about ENERGYbits.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on here. And I know what you were even saying that some other, like the UN and even NASA, have endorsed algae.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's taking so long for this to become so mainstream and for us to really get behind it?
Yeah. Well, I think the main reason is it's just not grown here for mass consumption. 99.9% of spirulina and chlorella, which are the 2 main algae, are all grown in Asia. That's China, India, Taiwan, Korea. So in Asia, you can't ride your bicycle to school or drive your car to work without going by an algae farm. It's just part of their vernacular.
Sure.
Here we have wheat farms and soy and corn and tomato patches, no algae. So nobody has seen it growing up. So that's number one. Number two, algae is food. So there's no patent. So the biotech companies aren't going to do anything about it. So, because it's like broccoli, although I'll talk about the growing processes, because it's actually growing algae is more like growing wine. It's very complicated.
Got it.
So, and then there's been no incentive to educate people. There's lots of algae companies. I mean, you can go on Amazon and there's probably at least 20 other spirulina and chlorella companies, but they don't even know what they're selling because they have a supplements panel on the back of their packaging. Algae is food. The FDA considers it food. We have a nutrition panel, which is what goes on food. And I don't think anybody has done the research that I've done for 15 years to help understand why algae works so well and why ours works better than anybody else. And I'll go through that because part of it's understanding what happens to your body as you get older and your body stops making certain nutrients that you need to protect your health. And algae contains all of them. And they aren't found in any other food. And they're not found in the lower quality algae companies because the way that they dry their algae and they deactivate these critical nutrients. So it's really important that to understand that algae isn't new. It's just new to you because it's been in Asia. They know about it. They've been benefiting it from for 60 years. So my plan, in fact, we grow ours in Taiwan, which is the gold standard for growing algae. It's partly, that's why I make the analogy with wine. Growing wine is partly affected by the angle of the sun. I like occasionally a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Now, a Sauvignon Blanc from California tastes completely different from New Zealand. Part of it, in this case, would be the sun and also the soil and the production processes. But algae is also affected by the angle of the sun. And for whatever reason, Taiwan seems to be located to have the highest nutrient value in algae. So I drew a line across the globe and to see where else I could grow algae because it's all concentrated. The best comes from Taiwan. And I got to Florida. And interestingly, I just moved to Florida. So my long-term plan is to build a huge algae agricultural industry in Florida because it has exactly the same climate as Taiwan. But we have a hard time. We have companies that grow it for us. But like I said, 99% of it is grown in Asia and 99% of it is contract manufacturing. And these companies, they're huge supplements companies and they don't pay any attention. And it's less expensive, so they cut corners to get to market quickly. And one of the corners they cut is they use high heat to dry the algae so they can get to market quickly. And that has a very damaging effect because it deactivates critical nutrients that we're going to talk about.
Which is the whole point.
Right.
You want to keep those alive.
Right. The way I explain it to people is it's like getting a great deal on a fabulous car, except you lift the hood and there's no engine. Well, it wasn't such a great deal, was it?
Yeah.
So we want people to get the maximum value from taking spirulina and chlorella. So we don't use high heat to dry our algae, which preserves all the nutrients.
It's like microwaving.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You could also have frozen spirulina or fresh spirulina. Those would have the same nutrients as we have. Ours is considered raw for that reason.
Okay.
And there's a couple of really prestigious healing centers. One is called the Hippocrates Institute, which is based in Florida. It's 50 years old. And they take very sick patients, stage 5, stage 4 cancer, and they have about a 95% healing ratio.
Wow.
Yeah, and they get their patients there to stay for 3 weeks. And one of the first things they do is give them spirulina and chlorella, fresh spirulina and chlorella every single day.
I have somebody in mind right now that I want to send a box to.
Yes. Well, but the problem is and then they heal, but then it's hard to get fresh and frozen spirulina. It's very expensive. It expires quickly. It tastes terrible. And you can't travel with it.
Sure.
So they're thinking of working with us because they haven't been able to find a high quality company with raw spirulina and chlorella like ours.
With a shelf life.
With a shelf life, it's 3 years.
That's what I was going to ask.
3
How
years.
long?
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, technically, ours will never go bad because it's never been exposed to heat. So we have some preppers, the people who think the world's going to fall apart. They'll buy 50 bags at a time and stuff them into their whatever. But the very minimum 3 years.
Okay.
And just to help you understand the nutritional value, we do have a 20% discount code to share with your community.
Yes.
And the best value are the large bags of 1,000 tablets.
Okay.
And I use that quote from NASA about 1 gram of algae having the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of nutrition from 1,000 grams of fruits or vegetables. So I did the math and found out 1 bag of 1,000 tablets has the same nutrition as 551 pounds of vegetables.
Wow.
And to give you a better visual, that's about 30 grocery carts of food just in a bag of these tablets.
Wow.
Very concentrated nutrition. So if you took 10 tablets a day, which is the starter amount, and you could eliminate lots of your other tablets and use the discount code, that works out to $1 a day. $1 a day for your nutritional concentrated needs to meet them, and $1 a day to remove the toxins.
Wow.
You can't. That's $2 a day.
Can't go to Sprouts and get.
You can't. You can't get anything for $1 a day. So at that rate, if you took 10 tablets a day, a bag would last you 3 months.
Okay, that's what I was curious
And
about.
and cost you $1 a day. Now, if you want to up your game and take 20, obviously it would last less and cost you a teeny bit more. But even if you took 30 tablets a day, which is $3 a day, you can eliminate hundreds of dollars of other supplements, and you're feeding your body what it needs. I turn 70 next year. Wow. 70.
I would never believe that.
I got my PhD last year.
Good
My
for
brain
you.
is clearly working. I have only millennials working for me. I don't do Botox. My skin is all natural. People say, oh, those extensions, this is my own hair. And I share my age with people now because I want everyone to know this is possible. I have been taking algae every single day for 15 years. And I don't take any other supplements, nothing. I sleep well, I poop well, I have high energy, my brain is working, my skin looks great, and it's effortless. I have to emphasize the effort. If you can swallow water, you can be nourished.
Yep.
You don't have to be prepping for cooking and cleaning. And we're all so busy. Toss these in your gym bag, your handbag, your travel bag, your car. Just keep them out of the sun so this chlorophyll won't be pulled out.
Okay.
But and if you don't like the taste, just swallow them.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it doesn't. Your pets will go crazy. They love them, and animals are smarter than people. They know what's good for them. They will just be careful that you don't leave the bag lying around.
Because they'll get it.
We've had stories of people telling us their dog or their cat leapt up, 4 feet onto the counter to get access to these things. So it's very cute. Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, just in terms of aging, and that is such a topic where obviously we're in the space of longevity.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, how can I get more life out of my years?
Yeah.
It's not just about extending my life.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
And like, how long can I live? But how many good years can I get out of it?
Yes.
And you mentioned mitochondria earlier. What role does the mitochondria play in the energy and the aging and the stress?
If you learn nothing else from this podcast, please know that your mitochondria are the most important thing to determine your health and longevity. Absolutely number one. And every scientist, every pharma, everybody knows this. So all the research is just plowed into figuring out how to heal and protect the mitochondria. And you don't need a PhD and you don't need medical when I tell you about what you're going to learn about spirulina and how it heals and revives the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, let's back up. What exactly are these mitochondria?
Yes.
So they're called organelles. They're in all of your cells, and they generate what's called cellular energy, also known as ATP. Now, the way I describe it to people is, in a building, you can't do any work without any lights. So when you have a power shortage, you're kind of out of luck.
Right.
Or when your light bulb goes out, you're kind of out of luck. So what do? You call the maintenance, and they come and replace the light bulb, or they, turn the power back on, and you're good to go. Your mitochondria are the lights in your building. They keep your body running, but it's even more important. They are also the electricity.
Got it.
So it's the light bulbs and the electricity.
The wiring.
And so, but as you age, they get damaged and they die. So just imagine the lights going out in your building. Dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And when you have less cellular energy, because you have fewer mitochondria generating it, nothing works well. Just like in a building, you're trying to do work with your phone light, nothing's working well. We need to get the lights back on in your building. We need to protect what you have and help you regain what you've lost. And I'm going to walk you through how that happens. And let's talk about why the mitochondria get damaged in the first place. Okay, so in your body, these mitochondria are inside the cells. By the way, your brain has the most. There's 2 million mitochondria per cell in your brain.
Oh, wow.
The second highest are women's eggs.
Okay.
Third is your heart. Fourth, and other organs. And then fourth is your muscles. After that, your skin and your fat have maybe 1,000-ish or less. The mitochondria are concentrated where the greatest energy needs are.
Power source.
Your brain it uses up so much energy thinking. It takes a lot of energy to make a baby. Your heart pumps through, keeps you alive.
Yep.
And your muscles need energy to grow. So first of all, they generate the energy and they're concentrated where your greatest energy needs are. So inside the mitochondria, which are inside your cells, this is where this stuff called ATP is made. And I won't get too geeky, but the process is there's these 4 molecules in something called the electron transport chain. And the way the actual energy is created is sort of like watching a relay race. If you've ever watched a relay race, and everyone probably has, you have a runner and they have a baton in their hand and they pass it to the next runner.
Yep.
And then that runner runs a distance and then they pass it to the next baton and they hopefully cross the finish line before anybody else and they win. Well, in your body, the way the energy is created, this stuff called ATP, it's very similar. Except instead of a runner, you have these things called proteins. And instead of a baton, you have electrons. And so the idea is to move those electrons, the batons, from one runner to the next as fast as possible so that you can get this stuff called ATP, which is cellular energy, produced. Okay? Now, a byproduct of that process are free radicals. It's just the way it is. We all know that free radicals are, or maybe we don't, free radicals are a molecule that has an unpaired electron, and Mother Nature likes balance. And so if you have an unpaired electron, that molecule will steal an electron from another molecule, which leaves it damaged.
Sure.
And now it's unbalanced, so it will steal an electron from another molecule. This is how tissue damage occurs. The good news is there's these things called antioxidants, and they have extra electrons. It's sort of like the kid who would come to school with extra lunches in case somebody didn't have one that day. So antioxidants have extra electrons to donate to a free radical to balance it and neutralize it so it doesn't go stealing and causing tissue damage. Okay?
So it's like finds a mate.
Finds a mate,
Okay.
exactly. So it's like a dance party, you got picked for dancing and everybody's happy. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is in the mitochondria, there are two cell membranes. It's the only part of your body that has two cell membranes. Every other cell has what's called a lipid membrane. It's a fancy word for saying fats. But the mitochondria have a second inner membrane. And I'll tell you later on where that inner membrane came from. And virtually no antioxidants can get in there. We all know that vitamin A, vitamin E, blueberries are loaded with antioxidants. You can eat a room full of blueberries. Not a drop of antioxidants will get into the mitochondria. So this is a big problem because you've got all these free radicals being a byproduct of this ATP, cellular energy stuff to keep your lights on.
Right.
Fortunately, there are some antioxidants that can get in there. 3 of them in particular: chlorophyll, glutathione, and this really long word called superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD, which I'm going to talk about mostly. And guess what? All 3 are in the highest concentration in the algae, both spirulina and chlorella. So number 1, all those antioxidants that you need to get into the mitochondria to put out those free radicals and neutralize them are in the algae. The most important one is this one called superoxide dismutase, and I'm going to tell you why it's so important.
Okay.
When we are born, we have, our bodies are such incredible pieces of equipment. Very
Such a miracle.
Mother Nature is just unbelievable to me.
It really is.
It's just crazy. So we have things like melatonin that help us sleep and hormones that help us grow. And we also have this stuff called superoxide dismutase. But as we get older, once we hit the threshold of 30 and we start inching our ways to 40 and certainly by 50, our body slows down the production of a lot of things. Hormones, for women it's estrogen, melatonin for everybody, and this stuff called superoxide dismutase. And you say, well, why does that happen? Well, here's why it's happening. We've been on Earth for 2 million years. And until about 200 years ago, we died at 30. We are biologically, evolutionarily programmed to die at 30. Now, Mother Nature is always looking for the most efficient way to do things. So there is no way about it. Our bodies are going to slow down production of certain things like estrogen, melatonin, and this stuff called superoxide dismutase. There's no way around it. It just is what it is. And by the time you're 40, you have virtually no superoxide dismutase, and by 50, you have 0.
Okay.
What does superoxide dismutase do? It neutralizes those free radicals that are produced as a byproduct of this ATP stuff. The way I describe superoxide dismutase to people is like, think of it as a big golf umbrella. I don't golf, but if you've ever had one of those big golf umbrellas and you see one, whether you're shopping or golfing, you pop that baby up, you could get like 5 or 10 people under there. You haven't stopped the rain, but you stopped getting wet because it gives you so much protection. This stuff called superoxide dismutase, which is an antioxidant, doesn't stop the free radicals because they're a natural byproduct of the production of ATP, but it neutralizes them and turns them into water and oxygen. So it's like a big golf umbrella. It neutralizes them so they don't hit the DNA of the mitochondria because the mitochondria have their own DNA and those DNA control everything. So when you're born, you have this big golf umbrella until the age of 30. and it's stopping all the
Starts to
free radical
close.
damage. And then by the time you're 40, that golf umbrella is about the size of a city totes umbrella. So now your mitochondria are getting a little bit of free radical damage, not a lot, but some. They're dodging raindrops. By the time you're 50, 45 or 50, which is right when women hit menopause or perimenopause, it's like a cocktail umbrella. It's gone. The whole time, the free radicals have been produced, but up until 40, they were neutralized into water and oxygen to protect your mitochondria.
Okay.
After 40, it's gone. So your mitochondria start getting hit and start dying. This is exactly when all chronic disease kicks in. Heart disease, 50 and 60. It gets worse as you get older because you have fewer and fewer mitochondria, and because they're getting damaged. And when you have fewer and fewer mitochondria, you have less and less cellular energy. So it's like having less and less light in your building to do anything.
To fight off
anything.
Yeah.
So whether it's brain health or immune health or digestion, energy, this is why women get depression and brain fog, weight gain, metabolic issues, cancer, heart disease. It's all tied to damaged mitochondria.
Got it.
There are 25,000 scientific papers proving this stuff called superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD, prevents Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease, inflammation, proving it. The missing piece is that nobody knows the highest concentration of it is in spirulina, but only if it has not been heated, because it's also an enzyme. And enzymes are deactivated by high heat. So all that lesser expensive algae that people are buying at Trader Joe's or wherever,
they're not going to get that benefit.
They're not getting that benefit.
Heated.
It's like buying that car with no engine. But if you have fresh spirulina, frozen spirulina, or ours, and also there's a third, there's not quite as much in Chlorella, but spirulina is the one I recommend because it gets into your bloodstream so quickly because it has no cellular wall because it's a bacteria. This goes straight into the mitochondria, gives them the protection, gives them back the golf umbrella. So just imagine, the golf umbrella is there, your lights come back on, your brain starts working, and it doesn't take long. It does take about a few days for your mitochondria to start regenerating, but you will just feel focused within 20 or 30 minutes of taking spirulina. That's why, because it goes to work so quickly. And it's food.
Right.
This is not a drug. This is not a prescription. It's not even a supplement. How crazy is that we can restore your mitochondria, turn your lights back on, protect you from all these, and by the way, for FDA issues, I just want people to know, it's not algae that's doing this for you. It's the nutrients found in algae that have been proven in science to have these kinds of effects.
Sure.
The missing piece is that nobody knows that these nutrients are found in spirulina or chlorella. And we'll talk about cancer in a minute because there's another nutrient in spirulina that has powerful protective nutrients. So for longevity purposes, and I encourage anyone to go online and research mitochondria health.
Sure.
Everything is all about restoring the mitochondria, protecting the mitochondria. But you know what? That second inner membrane, drugs can't even get in there. I'll tell you where that inner membrane came from now.
Yeah, please.
So I may have mentioned that spirulina, algae in general, was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago, and it was called a cyanobacteria. It was what's called an anaerobic cell. An anaerobic cell is something that grows when there's no oxygen. Because until this little cell, nobody knows why it showed up. Until then, Earth was just gas and water. No oxygen, no life. Nobody knows why this little thing started growing, but it did, and it was called a cyanobacteria. And it started growing. And after 1 billion years, it released so much oxygen that now aerobic larger cells could grow. But now the anaerobic cell that did best without oxygen was struggling. So
because the environment has
yeah,
changed.
Right, because
now.
they changed the environment. It's like, well, it's your own fault, for goodness sakes. Right? Yeah, what were you thinking of? So I joke about it and I say, I can imagine the conversation between the larger cell, which wasn't generating ATP as well as the little smaller original cell. So I imagine the big cell say to the little cell, hey, little guy, I see you're struggling down there. How about you come and help us, because we're not creating ATP as well as you are, and we'll protect you from the oxygen that you put out there in the end. And so basically, and this is all proven, it's called endosymbiotic theory. It's proven in science. The larger cell absorbed the original small cell that was cyanobacteria and it became mitochondria. Our mitochondria evolved directly from algae. How crazy is that? And I think Lynn Margulis, I think is the scientist, she was an MIT professor in the 90s, actually in the 60s, that discovered this. So when you take algae, it's like your mitochondria are going, yo, bro, like, where you been?
Wow.
Get in here. We missed you. Come and help us. Like, it almost gives me chills just thinking about it. Like,
how it all takes care of it.
And
we all take it when we're living in right relationship with nature. We take care of each other.
Yeah.
Even at that level, it's like, I'll protect you.
Yeah, you help us, we'll protect you. And so the original cell membrane that was on the original anaerobic cell, when it got absorbed, didn't disappear. It just got a second membrane put around it.
Right.
So that original cell membrane is still there. But and it doesn't have what's called porins, which the other regular cell membrane throughout our body has. So that's why antioxidants, most of them can't get in there, except the ones in algae. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. So it's pretty crazy what it does for your mitochondria, and all research for longevity is not all, but vast majority is focused on restoring, protecting, and reviving the mitochondria. And it gets even crazier, and I'll do one more little deep dive on the science. So remember I said that the byproduct, when this SOD stuff converts the free radicals protects the mitochondria by converting it into water and oxygen. Well, in that little process of generating the electrons, the relay race people, at the very end, you need oxygen in order for that final step to be made. And if you don't have oxygen, you're not going to have proper energy. So a byproduct of saving your mitochondria is water and oxygen. So it also generates the ability for your body to create that energy by providing the oxygen at that last final step, which is also part of a beautiful thing. And we'll talk about cancer in a minute, but remember I mentioned this gentleman, the scientist Otto Warburg, found that cancer can exist in cells if they're slightly alkaline. When your cells are slightly alkaline, it's because there's oxygen in there and there's water and it's healthy. So this whole process keeps the cell healthy. It not only protects the mitochondria, it protects the cell. So
which prevents an environment where cancer can grow.
So it's self-fulfilling health. You can't. It again, I keep saying it's effortless, it's food, it's safe for every age group, it's if you're a carnivore, it's good for you because there's no lectins or oxalates. The only thing I can find wrong with algae is that people don't know about it. And the vast majority is not of high quality, but ours is. That's the only thing wrong with it.
Wow. I mean, from, like you said, brain health, gut health, heart health, skin health, it feels like it's not a drug.
It's almost too good to be true.
It feels like a miracle.
It's people say you could call it miracle bits. But if the science wasn't there, you can't argue with 100,000 studies. 25,000 alone just on superoxide dismutase. So that's why I get so excited in telling people about it, that being healthy and having a good life as you age, because we're all going to age. And I tell people, you have two choices as you get closer to 50, because once you hit 50, you've figured out how the world really operates. But also by then you've accumulated toxins and you're probably stressed and you have not been maybe eating properly, not maybe even your fault because you just didn't know. So that's when things really start to go sideways. So I tell people, well, you have two choices. You can either get bitter or you can get better. And I say, let's get better. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Everyone likes the fancy, and I support the whole biohacking community. They're fabulous devices, fabulous companies, whether it's red light, I'm really big on red light, cryotherapy, cold plunges, monitoring your sleep. Sleep is my number 2, by the way. Algae is my number 1. Sleep is my number 2. So this up levels just about every other biohack. Saunas, because those are all really, really healthy things for you to do. You'll just get better value out of everything because algae just goes deep and extends the benefits. So there's lots that you can do, but it doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. This is the best, simplest, hack in the world. It's from Mother Nature. I can't take credit for algae. That's Mother Nature's invention.
She knows what she's doing.
But I can take credit for growing it safely so we can preserve it, all the nutrients, and give people the best experience.
Well, it sounds like there aren't many people doing that. And so we have you to
Nobody.
thank. Yeah.
I mean, the sum of the science has been around for 75 years. It's not like I just discovered it.
Right.
I mean, when you think of 100,000 studies, that's a lot of research.
Right.
That's taken a long time. And when you think that
Huge
the
gap in
United
the market.
Nations identified it 50 years ago as the answer to world hunger, but it hasn't taken off because nobody explained what it did. And if we can't get people understanding something, you're not going to put a value on it, and you're not going to use it. It's as simple as that.
It's interesting, though, that NASA endorses it. So I'm like, what do they know that we don't know?
They've been feeding it to the astronauts for 50 years because it's such concentrated nutrition and it releases oxygen. Algae is actually the one that provides about 80% of oxygen on Earth. It's not the rainforests. So they wanted to grow it on their space missions for the oxygen, but also for the nutritional value from the spirulina, but also the chlorella, because when you're in space, you are exposed to very high frequencies, antioxidants, EMFs, really concentrated. So
that will help.
This will help.
All
Yes.
the EMFs
Yeah.
that were.
Yeah. This is really important for EMFs has become a national disaster, quite honestly.
It really is.
I was at a conference just a month ago, and one of the speakers was an expert in EMF, and they took one of their slides was a photo of the sticker that's required on every 5G tower, and it said that this tower is known to create cancer, diabetes, not diabetes, heart disease, like right on the sticker, and it said, please, stay within 100 yards away from this tower. And they're allowed to put this stuff around. And in fact, we realized my sister's cancer, we think, came from because for 5 years, in her backyard was a whole row of these hydro towers. And I think it was the exposure.
We wonder the same thing.
Yeah.
When we think back about specifically my sister, because she was 21 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Was it did we grow up near some kind of tower, or were we exposed to something that we weren't aware of?
Yeah.
Because it just, it doesn't make sense. But these are the things that, and especially that was over a decade ago, a lot of this we weren't aware of how all of this was affecting us.
Well, one of the things EMF does is it dehydrates your cells, and you need that water in your cells to keep the alkalinity. So that's one of the things that it's causing the water around the proteins that are those little runners to dehydrate. So the cell becomes acidic, which allows disease to enter. The other thing it does is in your blood, you probably don't know this, but your blood vessel, your hemoglobin, okay? Well, first of all, let me tell you, your hemoglobin, the chemical composition of your hemoglobin, which are your red blood cells, is virtually identical to the chemical composition of chlorophyll. I usually have a picture I show, but you can go online and you'll see that they're virtually identical. The only difference is your hemoglobin has iron in the middle, and that's what carries oxygen. So chlorophyll builds your blood, and algae has the highest chlorophyll in the world. But back to the hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin, again, Mother Nature, so brilliant, she put her negative charge around them. And if you've ever held up two magnets, you know that they repel one another. So the reason why you have this negative charge on the hemoglobin is so they'll repel one another, so they won't clump in your blood vessel. This keeps them round so they can carry oxygen, and keeps them the right size so they can flow through your blood vessels, get into the capillaries, deliver the oxygen where it's needed, yada, yada, yada. EMFs strip that negative charge off the hemoglobin. So now they clump. So this causes your blood not to be as able to carry oxygen and not to work really well. And this leads to disease as well. Algae, because it has the highest chlorophyll in the world, particularly chlorella, and it's called chlorella because of the chlorophyll, restores that.
Got it. So it keeps the negative charge. That's amazing.
Yeah. So you really, and it does it instantly. And here's the thing: when that negative charge gets stripped off your hemoglobin, your body is so intelligent that it knows you would die if it stayed in that state. Because we all know our body temperature needs to be 98.6. Well, your pH of your blood needs to be 7.34, which is slightly alkaline. And if if that stray became too acidic, you would die. So what your body does instantly, if you don't have algae around, it pulls minerals like magnesium, potassium out of your bones and your cells and your organs instantly into your blood to neutralize it, because those are alkaline. Wow. But if that happens over and over and over again, that depresses your immune system, causes osteoporosis. It just is not a good thing.
Right.
And this is the other reason why I think my sister's oncologist wanted her to have an alkaline diet to ensure that her blood was healthy during her chemo treatments. So this is the EMF issue is very serious. Very serious.
Yeah, it really is.
So we want to help people protect themselves. You need a shield. You really need a protective shield, and I can't think of anything healthier, easier, more effective than algae to do that.
Yeah, I mean, what I really love about what you're doing is it goes hand in hand with the mission of the show, which was to, help people build lives that feel as good as they look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can spend so much time and energy focused on the external of accumulating things and making our bodies look a certain way or whatever, but if internally it's breaking down, internally it doesn't feel good to be inside of our brain, inside of our mind, inside of our bodies, then there's a lack of congruence there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this to me not only can replace so many of the things that are taking up a lot of space and cost a lot of money in my supplement drawer and all of those things, but now hearing the science and really hearing what it's doing from a cellular level, it gives me a level of peace of mind of knowing my body's really going to get the nutrition and the nourishment that it needs, because frankly, and I know I'm not the only one, I grew up in the Bible Belt in Alabama. I mean, we were eating
fried chicken
casseroles and all the things.
Fried in canola oil, probably.
What was conditioned into, what was normal in my life for 20 years, I've spent the last...
unraveling.
13 years unraveling. And it's amazing to know that something so small and tiny can provide that level of...
Tiny but mighty. That's
exactly.
Like your mitochondria, they're tiny but mighty. And for a lot of people, I'm not sure if this is the first time they've heard your podcast. It's probably the first time they've heard about algae. So I know how disconcerting it is when you hear something that goes contrary to what you believed. And I went through the same thing because I had no science background. I was an MBA and I was reading all this stuff and learning about these things. It's like, well, nobody told me that. Like, this can't possibly be true. So that's why it took me so long, because I had to be 100% sure that what I was reading was true.
It's deconstructing and it's everything in your mind.
Well, if it's so great, like, why don't I know about it already? That's what you're probably thinking. And it's because nobody has explained the science to you. So, and you start wondering, well, who can I believe now? And that's a good question to be asking yourself, because there's a lot of people, celebrities that are endorsing things, and I won't name any brands, but there's a lot of money supporting what they're doing. And you will know when you've hit the truth. And this is why I love algae so much, and I hope people will love us, because we're all about integrity and quality. We do third-party lab tests here. We sell only through our website and through doctors' offices. I wasn't planning on building a company. I just wanted to help my sister get better. That was it. And then when I learned what I did, I thought, well, I feel an obligation to help more people, and I enjoy helping people anyways. So I just kept going. So when I picked where we grew the algae, and when I picked how we, every single step, whether it's the packaging, the branding, the style, we chose not to sell through retail because I wanted everyone to have education and hands-on, so we go through doctors' offices. So we're just a different kind of company. We're the old school. We're old school. We actually care, and so I think caring is, and I say caring is sharing, and sharing is caring. So I want people to know that they can come to us with questions. They don't have to come to our website just to buy stuff. We write a blog.
Amazing.
But it doesn't have to be frightening, because I know it is. And when you have a health issue, it is frightening.
Yeah.
Because And most health issues don't show up. I mean, there's obviously accidents, but in most chronic illnesses, they've been slowly gathering speed and you haven't even had symptoms. Most diseases, there's 10 years of asymptomatic.
Yes. Yeah.
And by the time the symptoms start showing up, then you start into panic mode and you just want to remove the symptoms. But removing the symptoms doesn't remove the problem. And so you need to go a little deeper to find out what could have caused it. And it could be emotional issues. It could be trauma that you had as a child. It could be environmental issues. Mold has become a huge thing.
Yep.
I had an experience recently with mold. Thank God I had my Chlorella because it pretty much saved me. But you just need to, take a deep breath. Know that the body will heal itself, but you do need to give it what it needs and take away what it doesn't.
Yep.
There are obviously some situations, and I encourage people to listen to their health practitioners, but there's great functional medicine doctors out there that will look at every aspect of how to treat an illness, not just medication or surgery. I want to give people hope that there's an opportunity. And the other thing is, with a lot of what you hear from a lot of spokespeople, you're being told what not to do. Don't do this. Don't do that. And the thing I like about algae so much is that it's something that we can give you to do. Introduce this to your diet. Just take them, and you'll see the miracle happen in front of your face, honestly. But instead of constantly extracting things like, extracting canola oil, please do that. Extracting fish oil, please do that. Extracting sugar, extracting processed foods. Now we've got something you can add back in. And I know we spoke mostly about spirulina, but Chlorella, it also helps you sleep because it has the highest tryptophan in the world. And I mentioned that because we had somebody email us yesterday I see you have an Aura ring on.
I do, yeah.
And this individual started taking the Chlorella and noticed immediately that their sleep score went up right away.
I'll have to track that.
So we're going to see if we can do a little experiment or contact Aura and say, hey, would you like to do a little clinical trial with us? And it's because of the high tryptophan, which is a precursor to melatonin.
Interesting.
And also your body heals when you are sleeping. This is why sleep is so important. And as you get older, it's more difficult because your body has less melatonin. So this is why you want to get out to get some sun into your eyes to help set your circadian rhythm. The things that are actually the best for you are free.
Yep.
They're free. Sleep is free.
And natural.
Sunlight is free. Breathing and walking is free.
Really?
$1 a day is not free, but it's pretty affordable. So I just keep getting back. Red light is fantastic. You can have a device if you don't have access to light, but I started getting up earlier so I could get up and get the sunrise, the red light, because the sunrise, the blend of red and blue is the perfect healing. And centuries ago, the Indian community used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do yoga, but it was also to be available for the sunrise.
Yep, I've heard that.
If you dig a little deeper, everything that historically has been done by indigenous peoples around the world has worked for centuries.
It's so true, because they've lived in relationship with the earth.
Absolutely.
And she knows how to take care of us.
Yeah.
And so I think so much of this process is returning to our natural essence and way of being in right relationship with the planet.
Yeah.
And the things that she's provided for us to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways we can do that. I know people, after hearing all of this are going to wonder, how can I get my hands on some of these?
I know. Because don't go down to the local ocean and grab yourself some, because algae is Mother Nature's cleanup crew. So it shows up on your beach, and poor old algae gets the bum rap. It shows up on the beach because there's toxins and bacteria there, which you could not see, but you can see the algae. So it absorbs all the toxins and bacteria. So it's still toxic. So please still stay away from it. And also try not to buy the lower quality algae, because you'll be missing these powerful nutrients that we talked about, the superoxide dismutase. And I'll just touch on briefly. The spirulina is called a blue-green algae because it has 2 pigments in it. The green one, Chlorella, is a green algae because it only has 1 pigment. It's chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is what makes plants green. So Chlorella, green algae, just chlorophyll. Spirulina has chlorophyll, but it has a second blue pigment not found anywhere else, called phycocyanin. That's spelled with a P-H-Y, P-H-Y-C-O-C-I-N. Anyways, phycocyanin, again, I'm not saying anything that's not correct, has been proven scientifically to kill cancer cells. Some chemotherapies put the blue pigment in their treatments, chemotherapy, because that's what it does.
Wow.
I don't know anybody who wants chemotherapy. Mother Nature has provided us with a nutrient that does it automatically. We all have cancer cells in us at all times, but if you have a strong immune system and if you have strong mitochondria, of course, who has either these days, normally they would keep the cancer cells in check. But with exposure to environmental toxins or other issues, they can get out of hand, and that's when cancer starts growing. So this, I don't know how many studies there are, but if you Google phycocyanin in cancer treatments, you'll see the same research that I've been reading about. So Mother Nature is called Mother Nature for a reason. Our mothers nourish us and nurture us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mother Nature does the same thing. And I'm just so proud to be her spokesperson for algae, because somebody had to. You think of something that's been around for 4 billion years. It's not a trend. Yes, it was popular in the 60s and then kind of disappeared again. But we are in a health crisis, a nutritional crisis, an environmental crisis. And I know it sounds a little crazy that this one little thing could solve all of them, but it will certainly contribute to getting us on the right path to solving them. Absolutely. And that's why I'm devoting my life to helping people understand it, understand their bodies. Because when you don't understand something, it's scary. And if you just learn a little bit about how your body works and what it needs, we can take the fear away and allow the truth to start to penetrate, and you'll at least be comforted. And I promise you will start to feel better too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your dedication and your devotion to this work. And please tell people how they can go online and where they can get them. I know that you've been so gracious to give our listeners a discount code.
Yes.
So please let them know where they can go find
so
them.
come and see us at ENERGYbits.com, ENERGYBITS.com. We call them bits because they're bits of food, nothing else in there. And the discount code is coachable. You'll get 20% off. Don't have to worry. Don't go into panic, because it works forever. And we have bags. We have really fun canisters that have a bag in them, and you can shake them out. We have individual pouches for traveling. The canisters come with a cute little travel tin, so you can fill it up and put it in your handbag. We're also very active on social media. ENERGYbits is the handle. And I'm trying to get on larger conferences and speaking more. So I have my own handle now, Catherine Arnston.
Amazing.
And I also have my own website, CatherineArnston.com.
Great.
If you just want to learn more about me. But I tell people algae's going to be big. It already is in other countries. And remember, you didn't know about chia or kiwa or bone broth, and even though those have been around for centuries in other countries until somebody told you about them. So just remember, algae isn't new. It's just new to you, and give it a try, or at least come to visit us to learn. We also do, of course, sell through Amazon, but there's no discounts for that. So if you have any doubts, you can always buy a $6 pouch from Amazon, but then come back to ENERGYbits to use the 20% coachable discount and get the best affordable, powerful, scientifically proven gift for restoring and retaining your health and beauty.
Yeah. I mean, this is... The holidays are coming, and I know a lot of people who are going to be getting some
Who wants hangover during the party season, right? That's Chlorella.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and for your dedication to this work, and really excited about getting this message out to people.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks for being here. All right, guys. That's it for this week. We will see you next week.